All right, ladies and gentlemen, come on in. This is your old pal CHH, and we've got some October announcements from Paramount and Scream Factory. We got a fairly eclectic lineup from Scream Factory for October. There's a few things I'm actually pretty interested in, and there's an announcement from Paramount that includes Friday the 13th. But before you freak out, I do want to share my thoughts on something when we get into this. So, without further ado, let's get started, and we're going to start with the Paramount announcement. First things first, guys. They are doing a volume 2 of the Paramount Scares collection. If you saw last year's, it was a purple and black box that had not the greatest titles. They had some good ones, but not the best array of movies, quite frankly. There was Pet Sematary, which was good, but then there was Sweeney Todd, which definitely let people down when it was the the special title. So this one coming out, the biggest feature is Friday the 13th Part 2, 1981. Now, of course, 1981, like there's another Friday the 13th Part 2. Let me say this, guys. There's zero chance in hell that they're not going to release Friday the 13th Part 2 separately if you have no desire in this one. When it comes to the titles, though, let me break this down for you guys. Friday the 13th Part 2, Breakdown with Kurt Russell, which is a fucking amazing movie. World War Z, which is, pretty good. Not the greatest, but, and then Orphan First Kill on 4K. So, and I loved Orphan First Kill. I mean, I truly loved it. So you get your 4 exclusive slipcovers with those movies. You get Blu-ray and 4K discs. You get a collectible poster, which you could see has some pretty cool art. You get to see Jenny from Part 2 on the left corner over there. You get the Fangoria magazine, which has Friday art on it, which I like. Then you get some Paramount Scare stickers and things like that. So this one's probably going to come in a little bit cheaper. The pre-order is already up for this, by the way. So there's that. Now, like I said, if that's of interest to you, that's already available to pre-order. If you're not interested in those titles and you want Friday Part 2, you guys, if you want proof of the win, look at the rustling of the leaves, right? We have seen Paramount re-release their movies over and over again, which I think is a good thing, not a bad thing, because nobody's forcing you to buy all those, but it gives you what? Options. And in the world of physical media, having options is your best friend. So hang tight on that. I would imagine that Friday the 13th Part 2 will get released separately, maybe in December or January, not long after that, but it will come separately, and they will probably do a steelbook version of that. They may even do the Waxwork thing that they did last year with Part 1. Waxwork's vinyl artwork got a special slipcover release with the steelbook for Part 1. They may, in fact, do that with Part 2 as well. So hang tight on that, guys. But I think, between out of the 4 titles, 3 of them I'm super excited about. Friday, Breakdown, and Orphan First Kill. Love those movies. World War Z, I could take or leave, but, that's that. So that comes out 10/1. So October, the beginning of October, you'll be able to get that. So there's that, guys. Take that for how you want, and let's move on. They didn't do a poster last time, by the way, so that's interesting. So, guys, let's talk about Scream Factory. So Dawn of the Discs got the scoop on this. There's a chance that Scream Factory could announce this officially from themselves later today or tomorrow. More than likely tomorrow, but who knows. But this is exciting. Check this out. A Blu-ray collector's edition of As Above, So Below. I was the biggest hater of this movie for a long time, but I had my head in my ass. I had this thing about I hate big budget found footage for some reason, and I don't know why I was like that. I went back and watched As Above, So Below maybe 3 years ago, and I was like, man, this is a good movie. I need to stop being a jackass sometimes. So I admit that this is a really good movie. They have an opportunity here to actually do something really unique with this release and get some really great interviews and things like that. As far as the artwork on that goes, I am digging the skulls, guys. I mean, I think it's a really good design, and it's something for the Blu-ray people because not everybody's into 4K. So for them to actually do something like this, that's a nice Blu-ray release, with this being a found footage movie, there's no reason for it to be 4K. In my opinion, not everything needs to be 4K. I think this is perfectly fine. to do a collector's edition Blu-ray release. They have a real opportunity here to do something creative with the special features and go the extra mile. I hope so. You know, I'm not the biggest Scream Factory fan in the world anymore. I don't hate them, of course. I'd like to expect a little bit more from them, but there's a chance they could do a good job with this, guys. So this is one of the first of October announcements that I gotta be honest, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about that one. Next up, guys, M. Night Shyamalan's Devil on 4K UHD. This one I'm not too sure about. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but the fact of the matter is M. Night's movies, there's people that love them, there's people that hate them. This one I could take or leave. But listen, I do want to give a little bit of credit that Scream Factory is getting new properties. The issue is some of these properties, I don't know if they're old enough to warrant the desire to pick up on these 4K qualities. It's hard to say. I mean, there's going to be an audience for this, but I give credit that they're actually getting new properties. I'm not going to just diss them. I'm going to give credit where I believe it's due, and I believe it is due that they're picking up some titles that they haven't had before. Nice iced coffee this morning, guys. Next up, very exciting for me, Benicio del Toro's The Wolfman on 4K. Look at this, guys. And I want to make something clear as well. When Scream Factory officially announces these themselves, which will probably be tomorrow, maybe later today, it's hard to say, probably tomorrow though, they will of course have the listings up on their website. And I don't know yet in terms of stuff like this, if there's going to be the special edition slipcovers, if people are into that, and the posters. More than likely they will have the posters and stuff, but when it comes to the special slips and things like that, we don't know. And we don't know yet if there's going to be Walmart steelbooks, but again, I'm going to give a lot of credit here. I thought this was a good movie. It could have been better. They hired Rick Baker to do a bunch of effects, then they kind of swapped all that stuff around. But it's an interesting movie. 2010, I believe, this came out. So this came out right when I was graduating high school. Went to the theater to see this by myself. Nobody wanted to go see this with me. So I thought it was a pretty good movie, and I haven't seen it since then. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if I own it, but I did enjoy it because I had just gotten into horror at that point. So to go see a classic like The Wolfman was exciting. You got a great cast: Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, Emily Blunt, Hugo Weaving. So in terms of the 4K announcements, this is one of my most anticipated. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe there are people that aren't going to be a fan of that one, but again, I will give credit where it's due. This is a very exciting announcement, in my opinion, for them to get something new. I give them credit. I give them a ton of credit right there. So The Wolfman coming in October. Again, you'll get the pre-order announcement soon on the website from Scream Factory with the officials stuff about the special features and things like that. Next up, guys, Death Becomes Her. I was just talking to a buddy of mine about this. This is a really great horror comedy. I want to say this was Robert Zemeckis, Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, and Goldie Hawn. This is a perfect Halloween time movie that's not a super scary movie, but it's obviously full aesthetic. It's a comedy. It's a slight horror comedy, but it's very dark nature. They're in this, castle, ghosts. Goldie Hawn has a hole in her stomach, and she's fine. She's like a zombie. Very entertaining movie, very funny, very early 90s, and I think people will get a kick out of this one. Scream Factory did have a Blu-ray for this, so here's the deal with this when it comes to this. I don't necessarily want to upgrade this. I'm gonna have to see what they offer. I'm gonna have to see what they're gonna be given, because for me, special features is like the 1A to the picture quality. I mean, obviously, I want to see a movie look as good as it can, but when it comes to special features, that's the second thing for me. That's the most important, and I need a few boxes checked on this case. But with that being said, I think this is a great opportunity for people that haven't bought the movie before to be introduced to it. And I think it's actually going to be a very good looking 4K. It has the potential to be. I'll put it to you like that, because a gorgeous movie, very, very gorgeous movie to look at. So Death Becomes Her, another one of Scream Factory's October announcements, guys. Moving on, Wes Craven Shocker. Now, this is one of those interesting things, right? Because Shocker is a movie I think people, they can't help but love for a few reasons. They love Wes Craven. I love Wes Craven. I love the villain. People love the first 20 minutes of this movie. It's probably some of the most suspenseful horror from Wes, to be honest with you, the beginning of Shocker, especially when they're trying to track him down. And the soundtrack is literally a 10 out of 10. The movie is a little too long, and it gets a little too over the top comedic, I think, or not necessarily comedic, but it's very grounded, and by the end, it's very over the top in terms of what's going on in the movie, that sort of thing. With that being said, it's Wes Craven, it's Shocker, Alice Cooper's on the soundtrack, Iggy Pop is on the soundtrack. They probably, I'll be honest with you guys about something though, I don't know if they're going to have a lot of special features because they did a good job on the Blu-ray. Because you have to remember, this was the heyday of the Blu-ray run for Scream Factory, and in terms of quality of the releases, they were doing a sensational job. So, with that being said, I don't want you to expect a whole lot of new special features. I'd love to be wrong. I mean, they had Desmond Child, who produced the Dudes of Wrath song with Paul Stanley and everything on there, talking about that. So they did a good job with that. So hang tight on the special features, but don't wait with bated breath on that. But with that being said, it's Shocker. I gotta be honest, I love the movie, even though it gets wacky at the end. Big fan. Next up, guys, Drag Me to Hell. This is an interesting one. I feel like there's a bigger fan base for this movie. I have to be honest. I'm giving you the news, but I'm just trying to interject my 2 cents here and there. I do have to be honest. I do feel like this movie just makes me want to watch Evil Dead more than watching Drag Me to Hell. Apparently, a sequel is in the works, and I have the Blu-ray release, so I will probably pass on this unless they just do a sensational job with special features and things like that. So, I anticipate the transfer on this being very well, though. So, I know that there's a big fan base for this, so I anticipate Drag Me to Hell being a fan favorite from these releases. I could be wrong, but, yeah, I got the Blu-ray release from them when that came out, and I'm pretty happy with that for that one. Again, this is another one of their October announcements, so pretty cool. And last but certainly not least, well, it's not certainly not least to me, George A. Romero's up-and-coming film that I think people are going to come together to appreciate more and see what George was doing. 2004's Land of the Dead, the last movie that I think people more so like than not from George. Obviously, you've got Night, Dawn, and Day being literal classics. So I love the artwork on the poster for this with the hand on the gate. I much prefer that than the artwork that they did for the Blu-ray. I actually hope that they do something really unique with this release, and this would be a movie. Now, again, I always say I hate buying 2 slipcovers, but if the artwork that they do with the posters is really nice, if they do something like that, because George is my favorite director and because I appreciate this movie a lot, especially the older I get, I would splurge for something like this. I do encourage people to give this movie a shot. Maybe you haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe you don't own it on but anything but maybe a cheaper Blu-ray or a DVD. Consider it for me. Consider it for me because I do think this movie is not bad, and I think it actually ages okay, more so than anything. So, I mean, listen, it's not like George's latter Living Dead films are as good as what the earlier ones. George had his time. George had his time in his run. But what I appreciate about George is he never turned his back on what brought him to the dance. He always wanted to stay in the game and have his say with Living Dead movies. So I appreciate that he did Land of the Dead. And I think it's a pretty good movie, guys. So very exciting for me. I'm preaching. I need to stop. But I'm a fan. What can I say, guys? I am a George Romero fan. He's my favorite director. So that looks like it's all of the announcements from Scream Factory. There is this right here from Kino Lorber. They're getting Nightlife, 1989 TV movie. After 100 years, she could really use a drink. Never seen this movie before, guys, but it looks like it's my cup of tea. So that's coming from Kino Lorber. I will be picking that up as well. I haven't had anybody message me about that, but look at that. How do you not like that? So Kino's got that. And then in terms of non-horror stuff, The Rundown is coming soon from Kino as well with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Early Rock movie, which was, I love those old movies. So that's about it, guys. With that being said, that is the news. Again, all the specifics will be coming from Scream Factory soon. You guys watching this know where to pre-order the Scream Factory stuff. So I'll make a post on my community tab letting you know, hey, the pre-orders are up. If there's anything specific or unique about some of these releases, I'll make a note of that. But let me know what you're interested in. I actually think this is not a bad month from Scream Factory, if I'm being honest. I think there's something for everybody that in October from Scream Factory. There's not a lot for people per se. Like maybe you may watch that and say, well, I'm not getting this. But I think there was something for everybody with that. And that I'll give credit to. So I think it's a pretty good month for Scream Factory with some unique, a range of titles. So let me know what you guys are thinking. What has your interest? And what are you hoping for special feature-wise or anything from some of these releases? For now, this is Ropel CHH bringing you the news. God bless you guys, and I'll see y'all very soon. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.